Well. I wonder if this thing is working. It's the first time I've ever used any software like this. It's the first time we've ever done a show like this. And it's the first time that I've ever been like, not ever. It's been a long time since I'm a little nervous. A little nervous today on episode 660 of hashtag Rise and Grind. What a wild ride it's been. So while you guys are popping in here, let's just go ahead and listen to some music right out the gate because I can't put it behind us so that we can dance. So we're just going to start off dancing, and I'm going to get my guest today all pumped up. Let's go. Good morning. How are you, my friend? You see, there's no excuse for you not pushing yourself to the next level. In order for you to create a new you must have a new mindset. When teams come together, we can create things that are greater than the sum of all of their parts. Good morning and welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to seven, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind. Good morning. How are you, my friend? Wow, this is crazy, man. New software. Kind of cool that I was able to put you guys' like comments up on the screen. I really like that. Today is Monday. That's right, Monday, July 20th, 2020. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it will ever be Monday, July 20th, 2020. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most of this absolutely incredible day. I'm coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, and man, it's been an amazing journey down here in Tampa, spending some time with the Furman Automotive Group. And after studying last week, studying the book Think and Grow Rich and going through that whole series with all of you guys, I was thinking about like the mastermind and the power of your network. And I just thought last week, I thought, man, we really need to dive into that, because I think it's really important and profound how important this is, right? This concept of your network is your net worth. And so all week, we are going to be bringing on some of my dearest friends, highly successful entrepreneurs, business owners, all of those things all week, so that you can meet them, so that we can have fun, so we can dive into this powerful concept of your network is your net worth. And so today we have tons of awesomeness here with us today. We've got, I'm going to change the channel a little bit so we can see Krista a little bit better. So hi Krista, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. So today we've got,
Yeah,
I'm happy you're here, man. We have my dear friends, Rob and Krista, that are coming in from Texas, and they are Appreciation Financial and some other things. We'll talk more about that later. We've also got with us today, oh, I'm learning all these new panels. That's what's good about you guys being my friends. I can learn this stuff on the fly. But we've also got Mr. Dave Villa. Look, I think I even have a banner. Wait, I had a banner for Christendom too. I'm learning. So we've got also Dave Villa. Look at that, owner of IPD, creator of Auto Dealer University, and the host of Auto Dealer Live. He is a beast. David, how you doing this morning?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Glenn. It's my pleasure to be here, man. Thank you so much.
I am super happy to have you here. It's going to be awesome. Then we also have Miss Liza Myers Borches, my dear friend, owner at CMA, Carter Myers Automotive Group.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Glenn. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yes, I am so glad you're here. And last but not least, this guy over here, Mr. Brian Benstock. How are you, Brian?
I'm well, Glenn. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody else too. Hi, Liza.
Hello, Brian.
How you doing?
Such a great group.
I couldn't tell if someone could hear me if I fell off the screen, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I guess they can hear you still. I don't know. I'm learning. We'll figure it out. But my Wirecast software that I usually use, it just runs too hard on these computers. So I'm using StreamYard for the first time, and it seems to be working great up to this point. So thank all of you guys, five of you. There's 5 of you on the screen here. All 5 dear friends. I truly appreciate you. And I appreciate your time this morning. So I want to dive in and really break down and extract this idea of your network is your net worth this week. Because I think it's so powerful, maybe sometimes overlooked. And so I just want to ask you guys a few questions. We'll kind of go around the horn. We'll talk about these things a little bit this morning, and hopefully help this audience understand and process how powerful this thing of a network can be. So really, I'm gonna start over here with you, Brian Benstock. So my man, Brian Benstock. Brian is well connected in New York City. How are you doing up there, by the way? Are things
Great. Really having it's been quite a lesson and quite a journey getting through COVID. It's really exciting.
Yeah, a lesson and a journey. And I love your Live Strong shirt, still out there.
Still out there.
Right?
Yeah,
that's right. Brian, you're well connected in New York. I've been out there, with you. You're well loved. You grew up there. There's tons of people that know your name. How important has your circle been to your overall success, you think, there up in New York City?
Well, you can't do any of this stuff by yourself. I mean, Hillary Clinton, who I never quote, said it takes a village, and she's not wrong. I mean, there's anything and everything that we do is really all about connections. We're not in the car business; we're in the people business, and that's not going to change. And even with the advent of technology, it's still a people business. The book Think and Grow Rich. I happened to be blessed when I was in my 30s. I bought a house from a very wealthy man. And inside the house, in a box upstairs, he had an original copy of the book from from whatever. It was like 100 years old, a hard copy, red hardcover, and the pages were yellow. And I remember reading the book. And just a quick story. There was one of those things about writing down your goals, and I will have this by this date. And I was a young guy, and on a 3x5 index card, I wrote down what those goals were. I put them on a mirror in my bathroom. And the woman I was seeing at the time, her sister came over to the house and happened to go into our bathroom. And she grabbed that card and started laughing and reading it out loud as she walked down and said, "I will have," and she's like mocking me. And it's kind of interesting that you're talking about this book, because I kind of remember the number that I had established as a net worth at that time. And I can look back fondly and laugh at that number. And
Nice.
I don't look, but anyhow, she's not doing so great, and she should have written down an index card of her own. As for network, I like the part in the book, as I recall, that talks about being able to take people that are no longer alive and to use them in your network. And how powerful that is for me. My partner passed away in 2006, my business partner. But if you can honestly reach down and say, hey, what would he do under these circumstances, and what you can still make very good use of their counsel. And I think the network that I have today, of course, of people that are here, I reach into and tap into all the time, but also some great people that you can imagine being with you, and what would they do under those circumstances. And certainly that's been a big help for me.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I like that you use the word counsel, right? Seek counsel. We're not looking for opinions. Everybody's got opinions. Opinions don't help us that much. But seeking counsel from those that have lived or that are doing the things that you want to do. But that's awesome, Brian. I love the idea of, really tapping into, it's not just the people that are here, right? Your network can be those that have come before us.
Isn't that a crazy shame that when someone dies, right? I remember, when my partner did pass, him going, them lowering the casket into the ground. And I'm not to be morbid, but thinking about all that wisdom and all that experience that went with him. And, I think we will see a day where you can upload the intelligence from a person into some sort of a computer disk to have. I think we will see that day in our lifetime, but it's a shame that when people pass, sometimes that wisdom goes with them, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah, man. I think that day will come as well. I think that'll be a really neat day. Technology moves, things change. And the way that we connect with people has changed in incredible ways. Rob and Krista Gonzalez, they're currently in Texas. I actually met them in Greece, of all places. Here I was, I'm here in Tampa, and they've got these like Marriott Bonvoy commercials rolling, and they were showing Mykonos last night. And I was like, man, that's I missed that time there. So you and I, we all met in Mykonos, and it was just a really amazing time. And a lot of people met for the first time there at that group. We were there with Danelle Delgado, and it was just awesome. So talk to me about, like, how powerful have those connections been for you, just randomly kind of connecting with a bunch of strangers on an island over across the, on the other side of the planet?
So it's been amazing. I mean, what's funny about the entire story, in us even landing in Greece, I thought we were just going there for a birthday party. So I had no idea what it was going to be. Krista, it's great.
We're going to Danelle Delgado's.
That's right.
Let's go.
So I'm bringing the party supplies.
Yeah. So she says, Danelle's having a birthday. I said, oh, great. She wants to know if we want to go. She said, yeah, great. Where's the birthday party? She says, oh, it's going to be in Greece. I was like, sure, let's go. Let's get on the plane. We'll go celebrate her birthday. And then turns out it was this whole thing with, a wonderful group of people. And it was exciting to get on the plane and get out there and meet everybody and hear everyone's story. And, what was funny is one of the first lines that somebody said was, in our own individual world, being on our phone during dinner and having these conversations about money and growth and business and faith, it seems like a taboo thing in my immediate network. Yet when I'm sitting within this group in Greece, it's such a normal thing, So hearing Brian talk about, his index card and talking about his number, and hearing this, to me, and I got a chance to meet Brian once before, and just watching him live and living vicariously through him, to me, he's like the Bruce Wayne of the car industry. I'm like, this guy is in New York, he's in Gotham City, he's doing the boat thing, and Brian Benstock's the Bruce Wayne. I'm over here, I'm like, man, I feel like that's who we are in our life, not to the Benstock level, but it seems like such a taboo thing. Yet when we get around like-minded individuals and we share these experiences, we find out, man, we're not crazy. I'm not the only one with these. My index card is up on a wall and a poster, so we can actually see them in our bedroom, right? So it's really cool to be a part of that group.
And I think when you find your group, they elevate you rather than laugh at you.
Hey, I hate to jump in. Quick story. So at my wife's funeral, at my partner's funeral, my wife and I are talking with my partner's wife, and my wife says, Brian always worked on Sundays because he would go in, and when I'd say, why are you going in on Sunday? He'd say, how can I let Mr. Singer work and me stay at home? And Mrs. Singer said, I can't believe it. And I said, what do you mean? My husband used to say the same thing. I'd say, why are you going in on Sunday? And he'd say, how can I stay at home when Brian's working? So when you talk about elevating and groups elevating, you really take it to another level. I thought I was going in for, it's like the gift of the Magi, right? We should have coordinated. Yes. We could have taken every other Sunday off.
It's nice though to have those relationships that push you forward and that want to pull you up rather than the ones that drag you down, right? We all hear about anchors and engines and having people in our lives that we elevate and strive to be more alongside, because we honor and are thrilled to have the joy of running alongside them. And I think that's when you found your right network, right? It's not just about how many business cards did I collect, how many contacts do I have in my phone, how many people on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram do I have. I think what makes the more powerful impact is the smaller circle that you keep closer to you rather than those outer rings, right? Think of it almost like Saturn, where you're going to have these varying rings in your life and in your network that each serve a different purpose. Those Instagram followers are out there and they do something for you, but nothing is as important as those that orbit closest to you.
I love that. all the different rings, they all have a purpose, but the ones that orbit closer to you. And Brian, you said I don't want to hop in. You guys hop in anytime, and you're all welcome to hop in. I respect, value, and love all of you, and I'm just thankful that you're here. And I'm taking notes and I'm diving in. David, you've been quiet up there in the corner. It's
listening, taking notes.
Taking notes. You do a good job of that. Every week on your show, you connect with leaders of the auto industry. Some of them are outside the industry, but you're always connecting, bringing people on your show, amazing guests all the way around. How would you say that has impacted your overall success, being able to connect with those superhumans from all over the planet?
Yeah, well, two things, if I may, from just two different perspectives. I was reading a scripture, listening to you, Brian, actually. Proverbs says where there's no counsel, people fail, but in a multitude of counselors, there's safety. Another version says there's victory. So, I think that, it's a little different when you experience success. I mean, you're limited on time, but you better have some counselors, some folks around you that have been there or, are there or walking through some similar, growth patterns and leadership, because you can't do it all the way, all your career. And, when you're working for somebody or you're working your way up and then all of a sudden you think you've arrived and you don't need that anymore. You need it more than ever. So I think that number one, I think that is huge from a, and that's really more personal. And what Krista said too, looking at, again, not trying to get all biblical, but as a minister, someone who ministers a lot, you have like, friend wise or acquaintances, you have an outer court, just like the Old Testament, right? Inner court, then you have a holy of holies. I'm going to be very careful who I let in to the intimate, to the holy of holies, so to speak. I don't necessarily have a lot of friends, right? I have a lot of acquaintances and possibly impact more people, but who's around your circle is a sacred thing, because more than ever. But when it comes to business, just to answer your question the way you framed it, I think that's a different thing. I think that constantly, as a salesperson, I used to try to sell the old-fashioned way, and reality is the more you connect through relationship, or through reaching out and networking, business tends to just fall in your lap, because I think that's the natural way to do it. And so, yes, we're always connecting, and those are, people that become our clients, and then we reach out and we network and connect with them and get them involved, and they have a voice. A lot of them do. So, but I think it's definitely a huge importance to look at business that way, to look at your growth that way. We all, are in business, right? To earn, money, to grow our business, to leave a legacy, to pass it on. And the last time I checked, money's attached to people, and so if you impact people, money follows.
Amen to that. And don't be afraid to get too biblical, buddy. That's a heck of that book's
I just didn't think I was going to use outer courts, inner courts, and on the show. That's a little. That's kind of.
I love it. And it's powerful, man, and it's spot on. And man, I just love listening to all of you guys. It's always so wise. You guys are always so wise. You speak so well. It's just an incredible group. I hope you guys that are watching this live are soaking this up, taking your notes, absorbing all this. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that share button. One of the best ways we can honor our guests and our friends here on #RiseAndGrind is share this out, man. There's people out there that are looking, that are thinking, that are hunting, and there's a lot of wisdom in this room right now, including, last but not least, Mrs. Liza Myers Borches. She is the owner of Carter Myers Automotive Group. She's also my just dear friend and superhuman. Liza, I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody just about you the day before yesterday. And I love having friends in my circle that people speak so highly of.
Very kind.
That people didn't speak so highly of, but everyone speaks so highly of you. So Liza, as you're chasing like your circle, one thing I know about you is you do a lot of prep work, even when it comes to searching for staff and key positions and so on and so forth. You're very methodic and very, very slow to hire, as they would say, right? And choosing the right one. So when you're choosing like who you run with, what are you looking for? What are the type of people you want in your network?
Well, I'm going to take a little bit of a different take on it, because I think everything that everyone else has shared is spot on as far as how we create our own circles and the types of people that we should allow into our circle. But I think there's another level of network that's important. And little music there. I think when we look at our network and we think about what's the true value of it, it's really in how you use your network to also serve others. Because there are going to be a lot of people that we come in contact with in the world who maybe they're not going to be able to help us get a job. Maybe they're not going to be able to help us further our career. They might stimulate our thinking. But I try to think every time I meet someone to try to listen really carefully, ask really good questions, and try to figure out, they may not be someone who's going to be the perfect fit for my tribe per se, but almost everybody that I come in contact with, that I take the time to really create a relationship and ask questions and get to know them, there's some other superpower that they have that might help a nonprofit that I work with. It might help a family member. It might help someone who already works at CMA.
There are no accidents.
There are no accidents. And I think our network is really valuable when we're not just using it to help serve ourselves, but how do we figure out how to connect other people, and how do we create value for everybody around us? And I think about, Glenn, there was a night that we were sitting in Vegas and it was like, I don't know, way too late for me. And you were trying to put together the Grow Your Business for God's Sake. And I remember you asking around the table, what is your superpower? And you asked each person, because we were trying to figure out how do we leverage the best of every person in our network to help the greater good. And so I think that, a lot of times when you're young in business, you think about your network as how do I meet this person who might be in a career that I'm interested in or a company that I want to grow with. And we're constantly thinking about how can this person help us. And then you get to a point in your life where you start thinking about how when I meet this person, how is it adding to my overall knowledge and connections and relationships, and how else am I going to use that to create value in other people's lives? So I think that's the first thing. And I didn't really answer your question, Glenn, but I thought that was an important discussion. But you're asking about how do I figure out from a hiring standpoint and bringing people in CMA and that network. I think you were talking to someone maybe that I'm looking to hire and saying, I do take a long time. It does. I want to make sure I'm getting that right person, because when we look at our circle around us and more of the tribe and the inner network that we have, you are measured by those around you. And I think that using our network to hire within our companies allows us to get a much deeper knowledge of a potential recruit. When we used to do it based on pulling resumes offline or waiting for applications to come in, how many mistakes did we all make hiring? Because anybody can put stuff on a resume. But when you hire someone because they've been given to you as a reference by 5 people that you respect and trust, you get a whole different level of confidence in that hire.
Yeah.
One thing our company encourages quite often in hiring is always by the second or even third interview, bringing in the spouse, take them out to dinner, get to know the other people in their life. And one of my firm beliefs is that the first place you need to start in building your network is at home. And the best thing you can do, and the very first place that your network matters more than anything, is in your marriage and in your relationship, because you can have an ally in the home or you can have an adversary in the home. And that could be in your business, that could be in your dreams, that could be in your strengths and your qualities, your superpowers. You can marry someone and be living with someone who helps you expand that and grow that and encourages you, promotes you out like crazy, picks you up when you want to fall, and absolutely sees the bright future and the shine that you have in yourself. And unfortunately, I see people who choose to marry someone who's opposite of that, and the challenges that arise in having that contention at home. And
Krista, I've got a great combination of both upstairs right now. I've got a woman who encourages me to move and to do more. And I've got a woman upstairs. She kicks me in the backside and will not let me settle, will not let me relax. And I love that.
It's just one woman, though, right, Brian?
Yeah. It's one more. Sometimes she comes at me from so many different angles. Man. I don't know. She's like Manny Pacquiao. You need somebody. I mean, we all need that coach that's kicking us in the backside. And I think I want to just say something that everybody said, but I'd say it a little bit differently. Somebody said, your life, you're on a stage and you have no control over the people in your life or the people that enter the auditorium. But what we do have control over is where they sit. And in that front row, mom and dad and your kids and your spouse. And then you want the people that are going to be there encouraging you. When you say something right or you do something right, they're there smiling and say, yeah. You can't help the haters. They're going to come into the audience to see you fail. But what you do with them is you put them in row Z in the mezzanine. So you don't have to look at them. You don't have to see them there. And I think it's for me, was really powerful to understand you cannot control a lot of the people that are in your life or in your auditorium. They're just there, but you get to pick who you want where, and you want those people that are encouraging you, saying, attaboy, attagirl, really upfront and close. And I think that's the same with a spouse. You want her there, and you want her when you're sitting there, maybe not pushing or getting out of bed to do what you got to do, to say, hey, buddy, it's time to get up and go. And I'm blessed to have that.
Yeah, man. Amen, brother. Yeah,
I love that. I love that metaphorically. Go ahead, David.
I was going to say an amen to that, because I I've been married 27 years, and we my wife is the reason for, she's successful in her own right, and she's the CFO here, and she'll outwork me, out talent me, what have you, but she's usually not up front visually. But let me tell you something, she is, she's the glue that holds it together. And I mean, I can't even really say everything that she does. I mean, I'd be laying in a ditch somewhere sucking my thumb right now, probably at 5:30 in the morning, if it weren't for, what she means and does and has been in my life. That's just a fact. But I also agree with Krista. We're bringing a couple in this week. They're spending 5 days from out of town. We've been talking to this gentleman for a month and a half or so. Now we're bringing his family down, and they're spending a few days. I think that having them also get to know, especially when it's a relocation and things of that nature. But
yeah, man, all of that blended together is beautiful. I like the metaphor of the theater. I think it's super important that we see who people are currently connected to, because that can tell you a lot. And I love how Liza does what Liza always does, which is immediately thinks of how can this network serve others, not itself. So powerful. So strong. All of you guys are absolutely amazing that I am not going to let you go quite yet. Normally we leave at 6 o'clock, but that's not going to happen. Well, what I am going to do in respect, and I choose to honor people's morning routine. So typically we do this show. I'll be right back to you guys, so don't go anywhere, you four over here. So typically our show goes till about 6 a.m. and then we kind of let you go out there and attack your day. For those of you that have to go now, I completely understand. Don't mess up your morning routine on our behalf. But for those of you that stay, we're going to hang out just a little bit longer, extract some more wisdom out of these amazing humans. It's not every day that we get a group like this together all in one place at the same time. It's spectacular. I'm like overwhelmed and overfilled with joy right now. So if you haven't done so already, if you are going to head on out of here, just hit that share button on your way out. If you need more videos like this, you can go to glennlundy.com. Of course, you can always find those there. We're going to have more and more guests all week long. We're going to run panels just like this with amazing people. Danelle Delgado is going to be joining us later in the week, and Shaka Dyson's going to be on with us later in the week. There's this girl named Heather Perry. You might know her. She's going to pop up around here later in the week, and Brian Hess and Scott Simons. And there's just a bunch of them. Sean Hayes is on sometime this week. So all of my friends are going to be popping in and joining. So make sure you come back. For that, if you are heading out, I love you. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much. Now, back to the crew over here. So, you guys are like, Glenn, you're crazy. Yes.
We knew that going in, Glenn. We're good.
Fair
I told
enough.
my running group I was going to be a few minutes late this morning, that it wouldn't be 6 o'clock. They'll be waiting outside, though.
So speaking of running, quick book recommendation.
Yes.
Living with a Seal.
Hold on, let me pop you up a little bit closer.
Living with a Seal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this is
this
guy, Jesse Itzler, had a very unknown guy named David Goggins in 2010 move in with him in his apartment in New York City. And he challenged Goggins to put him through 30 days of torture. And reading this book you'll really enjoy it. I mean, in fact, I did it in reverse order. I read Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, before I read this. Living with a Seal. Throughout the book, he refers to the seal as Seal, not Goggins, because at the time Goggins wasn't into any promotion. And just imagining somebody putting me through that routine. And the thing that pisses me off, they were running in 2010 in Central Park every morning. In 2010, I was doing quite a bit of training, and I must have run past them 1,000 times. The challenge was I didn't know who Goggins was, and I didn't know who Jesse was at the time. But it's really, to me, it's almost like conversational, the book. But to see the routine that they went through and to be able to try and replicate that for those of us that run, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more than just running, though.
Well, Glenn's not a runner.
That's what I was about to say. I guess that's one of the things that your network does. So as I started to expand my network a little bit, and Brian's a runner, and Liza's a runner that I know of, that I see often. Dave, do you run at all?
I'm going to run to Starbucks when this is over.
Okay, all right. Rob, Krista,
they're essential, so that's a good choice, David.
Yeah.
He's going to make a Starbucks run.
But hey, Glenn, let's talk about network and net worth. My assistant Salome bought this for me. She didn't ask; she bought it for me. And I think one of the things when you get around good people, these are these gifts, right? These gifts of I know you, and I know you'll love this book, and so I put it in the stack, and I started thumbing through it, and all of a sudden, bam! It's a great read. And a buddy of mine, Joe, just sold his dealership out in L.A. for buckets of money, and we've been in a 20-year kind of book club with if I tell him to, and I turned him on to, I guess it was Relentless by Grover, and he's on the line at a bookstore all those years ago reading the book, and he calls me up and goes, "Baby, I got through a chapter online," and he takes a picture and he shows me, and he bought 100 copies for his staff. So it's these gifts. You don't know what impact a book has on an individual reading it and where that takes him or her. You just don't know, and it's just like meeting somebody. You just don't know where that takes you. So it's great that we've got this 20 group that, Glenn, through your network, you've expanded throughout the country. It's we don't know who you turn on, what spark ignites somebody's career and takes them to a completely different level. That's the most powerful part for me.
Yeah,
Brian, I'm going to use your comment about books and add another piece to the conversation about network and how every single person can add something to a new network. I think oftentimes people will go into whether they invite you to lunch or they're trying to add you to their network, and they come and they ask great questions, or maybe it's an interview, and they don't always understand the value that they can also bring to the conversation.
Yeah.
And I had a really great experience. I had a young person in Charlottesville ask if they could come meet me, and they were trying to learn a little bit more about our community and some nonprofits that we were involved in. And they came and they had this whole list of questions. And so we finished like 45 minutes and they had asked me all these questions. I'm like, okay, well, that was fine. I hope I was able to help this young person. But then he followed it up with sending me a book that actually had some relative information to the conversation we were having. And it told me the person was really listening, but they realized maybe when they left that there was something else they could add back to the conversation versus just taking from the conversation. I still remember to this day, I still have the book on my bookshelf at work, and it makes me think anytime I go to connect with someone, and if I leave feeling like maybe I haven't given enough to that conversation, how can I follow it back up to make sure that not only were they valuable to my network, but did I do the same for them?
Yeah. No doubt.
If I can say something too, Glenn, just about that, it just reminds me of, a lot of times we're so busy, and if it's kind of like slow down, smell the flower type deal. If you don't slow down enough to impact someone's life, what I hear, like Liza saying and Brian saying, because I think as a leader, there comes a time where money or success at certain levels doesn't motivate you. You realize that's never really been the motivating factor. It's there, it's your why, it's your reason, and people better be part of that. And so a lot of times I ask, really ask the Lord, I said, help me to slow down, and not miss the people, even if I'm going to pass by them in Starbucks or what have you, to, because those are those opportunities. And, because here's the thing, Liza, I know you don't have the time to waste, but you have time to invest, where there's a return. And that the difference in that person and possibly someone that is not ready is they were ready. They were in a position to better their lives, and you were there and you were present. So I think that those are some of the small things that, you don't realize. I haven't realized all my life how important those are to fulfilling what God's placed in me, my why, the reason, I want to see someone else successful. And you may not even get a chance to see the impact. but possibly, one day, they may come up to you, in heaven, and say, hey man, you don't realize, you impacted me because of this, my children and my grandchildren and what have you. So that's just just slow down.
David, it's funny you say that. You don't have to wait sometimes till you're in heaven. This guy Joe that I was just talking about, who sold his dealership, when he came to me, he came out of Baltimore and was selling cars and making $60,000 or so a year. And he came to New York because he wanted to be an actor. And I don't usually talk people out of their goals, but I said, you want to practice your acting, you can practice right on the showroom floor. And you can act like a professional. And wasn't it a fun phone call the other day when he called me up and told me that the sale was concluded, and he was very, very happy, obviously, and very wealthy as a result of that. And I said, hey, I wasn't too far away. I said, you wanted to be an actor, and you went out to Hollywood, and instead of acting, you did your car thing. You did pretty good. And he goes, BB, you remembered that I wanted to be an actor. I said, now that you've got the money you've got now, if you want to get into acting, now you can do it. He goes, no way, man. He's going right back into the grind, getting himself another deal. So the impact there and the things you remember. He was living in an apartment in Astoria. It was 400 square feet. He had a cardboard box upside down for a table to eat on there, and it's to see what he's done to himself, for himself, is just spectacular.
That's awesome. And that's one of those things that when, we were talking about, it's the seed that you could plant to change someone's life, and they have no idea what they just did for you. So I've got a good friend of mine from back home in San Diego. His name is Eric Serra. He's a wonderful, just super talented photographer. He gifted me a book called Do You by Russell Simmons, right?
Yeah.
A big hip hop guy.
Yeah. Great book.
Great book. And like Brian was talking about earlier, once I started, thumbing through the pages, it felt like I was having a conversation with all the content in the book. And it was just so relevant because for the longest time, I just said, man, I just want to win so badly. I want to win so badly. And this gift that my friend Eric had given me with this book just revealed to me that where at times I felt crazy, and at times this vision that I had that was so vivid that I knew could come true was actually possible, right? So reading Do You inspired me and gave me the courage to stick to my dream and believe that it was real, believe that it was attainable. And that led me into a personal development called PSI Seminars. PSI Seminars then led to me meeting everyone at Appreciation Financial, connecting with Brett Moore, connecting with Terry Kennedy, my next level of giants, right? And we're talking about seeking counsel. Brian was talking about it connects you with, great thinkers and great minds. We learned this tool called a workshop. And in my workshop, I actually have, and I seek regular counsel from my first mentor, right? D.H. Holmesy, who was like, if you guys have ever seen that movie, Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood's character was like, that was my guy. I was just scared just to the core of this guy, of how big he was. And then my last mentor, Rick Robbins, who was actually my best friend's brother. He introduced me to Krista. He was actually the reason why we met. And both of them have since passed, right? Yet I have daily conversations with both of these guys in my workshop. Yeah. It was from that uplifting and from that gift that was initially planted by way of a book from someone who we just, and it's funny you guys mentioned the superpower, and I just hearing it from you guys, I really believe that that's what my goal is in the middle of an interview, is to find out is you can have a great resume, you can put a lot of great things on a paper, but what we're really looking for in a great hire is, what is your superpower and how can we use your superpower? And it's less relevant what it is. What I care more about is that you are clear about what your superpower is and how do we deliver that to the world. And I think for somebody who's looking to build on their network, build on their net worth, is really about tapping into what is my superpower and how do I best display that and share that with the world. So if I'm looking for an opportunity to come work with Liza or David or Brian or Glenn, is how can I best showcase that superpower? And in my ability to fine tune that and broadcast that to the world, then man, that creates those working opportunities, and this energy is infectious, right? Before Glenn and I knew each other, Krista was talking about, man, you're gonna love this guy.
I did say that
right?
a lot.
It's like there's gonna be all these people in Greece. Glenn is gonna be
like,
your
you're gonna love Glenn.
I'm like, how you set me up with a guy? Like,
Totally did.
I'm supposed to be the guy. How is Glenn the guy? And then I met the guy, and I was like, all right,
he's great.
This is Bruce Wayne number 2. This is Robin. This is Robin Benstock. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, it's just phenomenal what a great connection, a great relationship can do. And man, one of the best seeds is plant those. I mean, another book recommendation that has turned my Think and Grow Rich to my do you is Outwitting the Devil. Is like the stuff. I mean, I've torn that thing apart. I've had several book clubs where we've studied that book. I mean, yeah, I can be further in alignment with you guys.
Yeah, and that particular book, I connected with Lisa Copeland, and Lisa Copeland connected me with Sharon Lecter, and of course Sharon Lecter, who wrote Outwitting the Devil there. So it just goes to show again those connections. I knew having all of you people on that I was going to end up with a list of books. Now I have homework. Anytime I get around you guys, I now have homework that I have to do to add to this. But I didn't mean to interrupt you, Krista. You were saying?
Oh, it's fine. I was just going to add on to something that Rob said about, when we're hosting interviews or we're meeting people, finding their superpower and finding their greatness. And I think one of the best things you can do for your network is to remember to speak into people's greatness, not their limitations, because you don't know how long they're going to be in your orbit, right? In your circle. They may be assigned, in row Q or row Y, right? Next to those nosebleed, negative people that Brian mentioned. We don't know exactly where they're going to sit or for how long they're going to be with us. And I would rather know that I can make the impact of speaking into someone's talents and showcasing their greatness and helping them really find their talents, more so than being the one who just simply says, oh, well, you don't add value to me, so therefore I'm going to set you over here. I'm going to push you away. I'm going to speak negatively to you. That's something I think that we can always control, is the words we say, tasting those before we spit them out, and sending people off, hopefully better than we found them.
Yes, I love that. Speaking into their greatness. Look, you guys are all amazing superhumans. I'm sure we could have conversations for hours and hours and hours and hours. We typically do. Just normally I have these conversations with you all individually. So to have them with you this morning has been awesome. It is 6:20 already though. So I am going to cut this thing short and let you guys go so you can go attack your day. Does anybody want to say anything else before we dismiss for the day?
Good seeing you all. It's great to have you in our network or my network. You enrich the network. It's like a quilt patchwork that really just adds to it. And then Glenn, thanks for bringing us together on a relatively frequent basis. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, you bet, Brian.
And that's dangerous asking us all if we have one last comment, because we could be here for another 20 minutes. So I'm going to say thank you, Brian, for ending that for us. I can't wait to connect with you all further.
Have a great day.
It is dangerous. All right. Thank you guys so much. You are all awesome. Go about your day. I'll see you soon. Those are my friends and my network and just powerful humans. And they're all part of #Rise and Grind. So you can connect with them too. You can reach out to Rob and Krista and become their friends, or reach out to Brian Benstock, AKA the Bruce Wayne of the dealership world. You can reach out to Liza. I'm sure she'd be glad to connect with you. And Mr. David Villa is an amazing human as well. Follow any of them. Follow any of their content. Whichever one of them resonates most with you, dive in, connect with them, learn from them. I've done so, and it's made a massive impact in my life. I love them all dearly. I talk to them all as frequently as humanly possible. They're an amazing group of human beings. And so I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to share them with you today. I'm going to continue to share more of my network and my friends with you as the week goes on. So you make sure you come back here, right here at Official Glenn Lundy, 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. At 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, where actually I'll be coming live tomorrow from this place. I forget what it's called. It's like Dallas, Texas or something like that. That's where I'll be tomorrow morning. Today I'm in Tampa. Tomorrow I'll be in Dallas, and I'll be coming to you live with some other amazing superhumans. Some of them might just be in the same room as me. I don't know. Just saying. There's your clue. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow on hashtag Rise and Grind. Love you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? You see, there's no excuse for you not pushing yourself to the next level. In order for you to create a new you must have a new mindset. When teams come together, we can create things that are greater than the sum of all of their parts.